Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1. Amir Rizwan bin Muhammad Hakiman, Adik Fahan bin Badrul Elisa, Ilya Adila binti Ahmad Mahayuddin, Muhammad Aziz bin Muhammad Zahir, and also Amir Ashraf bin Kamar Zaman. And we are going to explain about clutch system. So for the history of clutch, Carl Benz originally designed and patented world's first internal combustion driven automobile in 1885. Carl Benz's clutch system would burn out easily as the thread in clutch cover was so tiny and also precise. Hence, it will resulted to a slippage and the design need an improvement. Next is sliding clutch. As for the improvement that is needed from the previous clutch system, a solution came in as Charles Bock and Marshall Beck invented a new clutch system. This system contains shaft and pulley and a hand lever connected to a fork to engage the clutch. This system lasted for exactly 2 years until both of them died. Then a new invention is needed. After the invention of sliding clutch, Hillshaw clutch came in to continue its system of clutch. This system was invented by Professor Henry Selby Hillshaw. It is a multiple plate clutch that is used in automobile and also marine functions. It has a high resistance to overheating as it is a wet clutch system. It requires a lubricant oil to operate this clutch system.
So next I will continue for the function of a clutch. So the function of a clutch is, the first one is function of transmitting the torque from the engine to the drivetrain. The second one is smoothly deliver the power from the engine to enable smooth vehicle movement. And the third one is perform quietly and to reduce drive, it is related to vibration. And the last one is it can be used to reduce engine speed. So next is for motor vehicle, the clutch actually act as a mechanical linkage between the engine and transmission, and it is briefly disconnect or separate the engine from the transmission system. So this disconnects the drive wheel whenever the clutch pedal is depressed, allowing the driver to smoothly change gears. So I think that's all the function, some of the function of a clutch. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Amir Ashraf bin Kamar Zaman. Now, I will continue the presentation. I will explain about concept of clutch system. So, the concept of clutch system. The clutch work on the principle of friction. This is because the friction created when two friction surfaces come in contact with one another and forced together. They are joined. The other will also revolve if the first one does. Next, how clutch works in a vehicle. So for the first, when the clutch is engaged, the engine transmits power to the driving wheels via the transmission system and the vehicle moves. Next, for the clutch is disengaged, the car stops while the engine is still running. This is because power is not delivered to the back or driving wheels. So what time is the clutch is engaged and disengaged? So for the clutch is engaged, the time is when the vehicle is about to drive and it remains engaged while the vehicle is in motion. Furthermore, the clutch allows for continuous weight carrying. Next, the clutch is disengaged. The time is when the engine is running, when the car is stopped, when the gear are changed, and when the engine is started. Next, as a user of vehicle, we have to take care about every part of our vehicles, included the clutch. So when the clutch is used appropriately, it prevents jerky movement of the vehicle and overwork of the other component of the power transmission system. So I think that's all from me. I will pass the presentation to my another group member. Thank you.
Okay, next the related mechanical theories of the clutch. First the working principle of the clutch. When two rotating friction surfaces are brought together and squeezed, the friction force between them causes them to start rotating at the same speed. And after that, a clutch-driven member is a pressure plate installed on the transmission shaft, and its driving member is a flywheel mount on the engine crankshaft. And then this is the fundamental idea of a clutch. The area of a surface, the pressure placed on it, and the friction material between the two surfaces all affect how much friction there is between them. And then there's some friction creates something known as the clutch. Press are kept between these two members. This whole assembly is known as the clutch. Uh, Before this, I talk about the friction clutch. Uh, and then I will explain about the friction clutch. Nowadays, most of the cars are using a basic friction clutch that mainly has some normal component, which people may be heard before. Engineers can engage and disengage the transmission and flywheel using a friction clutch. It is controlled by a clutch plate, pressure plate, and release a bearing that is attached a mechanical or hydraulic cable. Okay, after that, the equation. There came adapter for the flat plate. This is a frictional force at the diagram beside. Uh, the friction force is micro P times 2 pi x times dx. And then whereas the P is the intensity of normal pressure between the surface. By moment about the axis, the friction torque is given is the R the BR on above and the small r on the bottom. Micro P times 2 pi r x square times dx, and then the W is the axial thrust is the BR same the BR top and the small r bottom, the intensity times 2 pi x times dx. The equation torque and axial thrust can be integrated once variation of the P with the radius. And the two particular case are considered here. The uniform pressure and the uniform were. That's all for me. Thank you.
So next we move on to the development of clutch system. Firstly, we have a single plate clutch. So the single plate clutch is one of the most commonly used type of clutch. The single plate clutch has only one plate that attach on splines of the clutch split. Next, we have multi-plate clutch. The multiple plate clutch is to make more frictional contact with a flywheel of the engine. The multiple clutch have two characters, dry and also wet. If the clutch is operated in an oil bath, is known as a wet clutch. If the clutch is operated by dry without oil, is known as dry clutch. After that, we have cone clutch. Cone clutch consists of friction surfaces in the form of cone. The engine shaft consists of a female cone and a male cone. The male cone is mounted on the spline clutch shaft to slide on it. So next we have centrifugal clutch. Centrifugal clutch is to keep the clutch in the engaged position, and the centrifugal clutch also use centrifugal force. This made so easy for the driver to stop the vehicle in any gear without stalling the engine. Next, diaphragm clutch. The diaphragm clutch consists of a diaphragm on conical spring which produce pressure on the pressure plate. So, when we press the clutch pedal, the outside bearing move toward and pressing the diaphragm spring. And then when we release the clutch pedal, the diaphragm spring will move to the initial position of the spring. So last but not least, we have a electromagnetic clutch. So this clutch operate by electrically, but the torque is transmitted mechanically. The clutch has flywheel consists of winding, and then when the electricity pass through, that will produce electromagnetic field, and then the electromagnetic field will attract the pressure plate into onto the flywheel. Lastly, we have the hydraulic clutch. The hydraulic clutch is operated by oil pressure. It has fewer parts than other clutch. The oil reservoir pumps oil into the accumulator through a pump. So that's all from us. Thank you.